House Bill 500, now newly modified by the Senate, passed the chamber unanimously this week and is now in conference committee. Senate Budget Chair Chris McDaniel says among the big changes, a 13th check for state retirees and more investment in that population's health insurance. Seek Money for Schools gets a small increase, and post-secondary education funding is maintained from the last budget, but many other state agencies will see a 4% reduction in the first year and 7% in the next.
We've tried very hard for a very long time to keep a lot of discipline in this process. The discipline has yielded some results, be it lower taxes, better investments, better funded pensions, better reserve accounts.
The Senate version is much better than the House version, but still some real challenges there that would impact every Kentuckian in some way.
Governor Andy Beshear has some likes and dislikes. On Thursday, he praised investments to build new juvenile justice facilities, but he'd like to see $76 million more for the Department for Community-Based Services. That's the agency that oversees foster care, SNAP, and temporary assistance for needy families, and $2.7 billion more for Medicaid. So let's start with that ask first here. Jared, I'm going to begin here with you. It's a very big ask. We've heard Republicans raise a few issues around Medicaid going into this budget. That amount was unchanged between both versions. What are the odds that there's going to be any increase?
I don't really think there's going to be much of an increase. You know, this is the first budget cycle that they're having to do without COVID-era money in a long time. And so it's a very tight budget. It's a lot of stuff got cut on the cutting room floor. They're in conference committee right now. So it's real curious to see, you know, I mean, there's not enough dollars to go around right now. You know, education, the SEEK funding, transportation and education, plus Medicaid. We don't know what I refuse to call it the big beautiful bill. House Resolution 1, you know, I don't know if we know exactly how those Medicaid cuts are going to work at the state level, so they have to be extra cautious there in the Medicaid. So there's still some stuff to find out. I did like that KCTCS got money for a correctional facility, educational correctional facility for people that are about to re-enter society to help cut down on recidivism. I think that's a really good idea, and I think that's a one bright spot in the budget.
Trey, what are your thoughts?
One thing I have heard, you know, we talk about not cutting, no additional cuts from the House to the Senate on Medicaid, but there's a 2.5% cut to managed care programs. It's not a Medicaid cut because that money is going to other Medicaid programs, but that is the bulk of Medicaid is the managed care programs. So, you know, I've heard a couple of people from the healthcare community rattle some concerns about that particular cut. Most of that money would get moved over to stuff like long-term care and some other things. But, you know, when you're trying to deal with that Medicaid shortage that the state has to make up, every dollar counts, and, you know, you need more money into it. I don't know if the state has it. We're going to have to figure out where to make it up somewhere. But I have heard some rumblings that some people weren't happy with that change from the Senate version.
What about the DCBS ask? Beshear made several comments yesterday about, you know, those agency reductions that I mentioned and trying to take care of what he calls some unfunded obligations. He pointed to the kinship care bill from a couple years ago being an example. Given that $76 million is a lot smaller than $2.something billion, is it possible there may be some wiggle room?
And those are programs that the House and the Senate championed while Matt Bevin was governor, so that might be a place that you can see a movement made. You know, the question is let's get to the politics of it. I think one of Andy Beshear's biggest liabilities as he attempts to run for president is the woeful shape of the juvenile justice system and the correctional system in general under his care as governor. And, you know, maybe there's something in there where they don't particularly want to invest extra money in it because it might make it look like Andy Beshear's making moves on it when he's had 6 years to make moves on fixing the juvenile justice system. He hasn't shown a real concern about it until he's running for president. You know, does some politics get into play with money in that system? I don't know, potentially.
Jared, what do you make of the politics?
Well, we don't need to talk politics because we have foster kids that are sleeping in offices, and that is unacceptable, and it's still happening. I don't care whose fault it is. I don't care if it's the legislature's fault. I don't care if it's the governor's fault. They need to fix that. That's immediate. We take those kids away from the home for good reasons, and then we put them in an office. I mean, that's unacceptable.
Auditor Ball's report was appalling,
Yeah.
and the fact that the governor's pushback on it was minimal. I mean, he nitpicked around edges on stuff, but I didn't see a full-on denial that it was going on, or a suggestion as to how they're going to fix it. I think definitely money needs to be put in there. You know, like I said, I think the politics are more in the juvenile justice system, but the DCBS stuff, it's got to be done. And again, this is the General Assembly that, especially when Matt Bevin was governor, spent a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of money trying to get that system into better shape. You know, and this is where Andy Beshear, Matt Bevin, for all his faults, was passionate about that issue and worked hard with the General Assembly on it. Andy Beshear is not, and that's a system that needs cooperation between the executive branch and legislative branch. And it's really an area where, regardless of who you want to blame, obviously I'm going to blame Andy Beshear. Regardless of who you want to blame that lack of communication and cooperation on, this issue needs it, and it's not getting it.
I mean, what are we saying to these kids?
Yeah.
Like, what do we say? Like, we don't value. I mean, it's a human life. Like, what are we doing? For all the pro-life talk out there, for all this stuff, we're going to take kids out of horrible places and just throw them in an office? I mean, that kid is not going. The kid already has a long road ahead of them anyway, and that just makes it even worse. So I don't care whose fault it is. Fix it.
Only got a few seconds left here, so one other question I want to squeeze in. Some Democrats and left-leaning policy orgs are arguing that the budget has been crafted intentionally to try and get us to that next income tax cut. Based on what you're seeing in the process right now, do y'all think that's the case?
No, I think it's crafted looking at a much smaller budget than past years because of both the economy and a cut in federal dollars. You don't have time to deal with the other stuff when you're trying to just figure out how to make ends meet with the requirement to have a balanced budget.
Quick last word.
No, I don't think that's so. They got a lot of other problems they got to deal with in the current political and economic climate nationally, and it doesn't look like it's going to get any better.
All right.